With the muffler Ryan Bruckner, I'm Mike Big Tobacco Ryan, and this is my intro.
Oh. So that was your intro.
That's it.
Okay. Well,
You don't know how to handle yourself
Now what are
without
we
me
gonna do?
asking you how you're doing.
that's
You don't
true.
know which direction to take this. I gave you the introduction, and now what do we got on our hands? Because of you. A very uncomfortable start. And now my energy level is off.
When is your energy level on?
I feel like I bring up my energy level every
Yeah.
single
We
episode.
need a Mike's energy level barometer.
Well, I have reason for my angst today, and it's because of my car, but I don't want to get into it too much. It's been an awful week. Basically, what started as just a routine oil change has now become me driving a 98 Infinity, which is fine, okay? But I will say this. I was driving the car, which they returned finally, unfixed. Like, the car is unfinished. Like, it's not accelerating. Like, I was driving in extremely unsafe conditions on the way here. I could have died, Ryan. Like, the check engine light went on. Things started flashing. I smelled burning rubber and stuff. And this is all I'm going to say about the car, because I don't want to get into it, because I don't want to be mad. I want to be happy today. And I don't like the way I started, okay? I don't like my
Your energy?
energy. Okay, new rule. Okay, I'm going to try to go as long as I can without saying the word energy. Even if we're talking about high energy. I'm just... Swear jar for every
Mike's
time I
match
say
of the month next week. High energy versus the head. Who are their contemporaries?
Oh, the Beverly
The Beverly
Brothers.
Brothers versus High Energy. Puffy Pants.
Let's see. No, here, this is what I'll say. I came in here really hot, even hotter than I am now. This is partly, true, partly an act, I guess. I don't know where I'm at right now, but I was genuinely upset. I mean, I sent you the script and you guys shit all over it. We don't have to get into that either. So I was already feeling vulnerable, and vulnerable is another word I say
You're
all the time.
always feeling vulnerable. Your energy is always like
Oh, man.
either skyrocketing or very low.
God damn it.
You never just have the right energy.
I know. Well, you do. And let me tell you something. You came in here and you immediately calmed me down, and you said, you know what? Let's do the podcast later. Just take care of it now. I got AAA. I'm willing to trail you to the San Dimas branch of this place, that messed up your car. And I was like, this isn't a big deal. It's Saturday. I got my health. I haven't gotten the flu yet.
I had the flu.
And I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you watch Alpha versus Omega?
I did, actually.
And what'd you think?
I thought, is this a shoot, Ryan? Gobble, gobble. Steve! Get back down there. This was as intense as it gets. I thought this was excellent heel storytelling from Y2J. I thought it was an excellent use of props. They got armpit or hairspray involved. I thought the way Jericho reacted to the crowd was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I thought the commentary was stellar when they knocked out their table and they're like, it's a total chaos. We don't know if we're on air right now, but we can hear our voices back, so we're just going to continue calling the matches. We don't even know if this is going out. I thought the promos leading up to it were spectacular. I was even like, is
the
this
press
real?
conference when he threw the table?
I was seconds away from texting you and inquire, is this real? What happened? And then he said, we'll see you at the Tokyo Dome. I was like, oh, okay, wow. It's just an incredible shoot style promo. I
Yeah.
thought this is some of Jericho's best work leading up to this match. And then he's attacking people at a New Year's celebration after the match.
Yeah, he attacked Naito.
Yes, I love how Jericho just embraces the style of Japanese wrestling. I think Omega is one of the greatest of all time. I give this match 7 stars.
Have you ever heard Naito's theme song?
I have not, but that's
It goes,
just because I'm ignorant.
Naito, fighter of the Jericho,
You're lying.
champion of Japan,
That's the
bringer of
Dayman spoof
excitement
from
and
Always-
wrestling to every man.
That's awful.
Naito.
Because the Always Sunny in Philadelphia was a ripoff of Bowie. You know, so now that's a ripoff of a ripoff. Next thing you know, we're going to be voting for Oprah for fucking president. This entire world's gone to shit.
Today there was people in Hawaii got Amber Alerts on their phone that there was a incoming ballistic missile. Everybody in Hawaii got that emergency notification today.
Just like you get
It was-
Amber Alerts at work. And
Yeah, it was a mistake.
Oh my God.
There's an incoming ballistic missile. Take shelter.
If my phone, my brand new iPhone 8 Plus, told me anything, it was like, Mike, today you need to jump off a building. I'd be like, okay. I believe everything that comes out of my phone. Seriously. Like, I have so much trust in my phone. Trust. I use trust a lot as well. As in lacking when it comes to me and you. That was unnecessary. But what the hell? So people just were freaking out, and then do they get the response of like, sorry, I thought this was 814 Pacific Coast Highway. No,
they got
1014 is 2 blocks down that way.
Like 45 minutes ago, they got one that said it was a false alarm.
Sorry, our mistake.
Yeah.
You
Like,
see
what
that
the
on your
hell?
phone, you freak out. What's your first reaction to that? Are you like, we're all
I'd be
going to
like,
die? Or is it just like,
well,
I don't know
I'd
about
better
that.
call my loved ones and see what their plan is. I mean, where would I take shelter besides inside my house?
How long was this chaos going on? Were they like, oh my God, what? You got that? There's a missile coming our way?
At least it was
That is
Hawaii and they're a
total
little more
chaos.
laid back.
Yeah, they were all drunk on Malibu rum.
Malibu rum
I don't know.
in Hawaii?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's intense. What did you
I thought it was pretty amazing.
of my segue?
It was a 5-star match. I mean, it was hard hitting. My favorite part by far was the involvement of the referee and his son.
No doubt. And
That was so
Jericho
amazing.
just tossed him around like a rag doll,
Yeah.
man. I was like, I
And
hope
he-
this guy's a worker. 'Cause
He put his son in the lion tamer, and then he's like, "Look at your kid!
Yeah.
Look at your kid!"
Oh my God. You see this, Jono? Huh? You see
Yeah.
this? He's such he's kind of wasted talent as a face. Not wasted, but what he
Yeah.
does as a heel is
Yeah,
breathtaking.
it's like every time he's a face, it's almost kind of sad.
And
It's
you know what
like he could be
Yeah.
doing so much better.
or silly. Like it gets goofy.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey, I'm just, wearing a towel around my waist with Christian. And oh boy, the Dudley Boys got into my duffel bag with the ass cream in it. Oh no.
That's cream. Ass cream. Ass. It's got ass cream.
Yeah, so I loved it. I liked that it takes place. I didn't even realize this on the same day. No matter what day January 4th
January
is.
4th.
It's great. I love that, and I also love that. So like the way they handle the Tokyo Dome. A lot of people there, and you could barely tell. It's like WCW doesn't like the crowd
yeah.
because they don't fill the seats. They don't like the crowd because it's not really an issue. The attendant, it's about the ring.
Yeah.
So it could very well be in like a 20,000 seater. You couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I
They
love that.
shoot it like a sporting event. WWE
Exactly.
shoots it like an entertainment event.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
yeah.
there's suspension of disbelief in both, but WWE's motivation is more theatrical, as if you're watching a play, whereas this is like, we want you to think that these people are actually about to murder each other. And
It's
that's
like-
what I do think, and it's very successful with this match.
It's exceedingly more difficult for WWE to present anything that could help you suspend your disbelief, though. Like, everything has become so like WWE-ified
Absolutely.
that like there's rarely a time where you see something where you're like, wow, that was intense. Like, I've never seen any. I think the last time I saw something where I was like, that
Roman
felt real
Reigns,
was
being
Roman Reigns,
pushed
Brock
by
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they were just doing that squash match and his mouth was bloody and
What about
just
when
so hard hitting.
Braun pushed Roman Reigns off the the conveyor belt or whatever down the second?
But that's
down a
like
full
an
story.
that's like an angle. I'm talking about like a wrestling
Yeah, it
match
was,
where
and it was
I'm like
like-
that looked like maybe they had some animosity. Maybe they were being a little stiff. Like you don't really feel that.
Well, Brock Lesnar's involved mostly because he's kind of just marching to the beat of his own drum.
yeah.
He is that, I am legit. I am an MMA guy. I'm an MMA guy in this world. When I'm an MMA, I'm not a wrestling guy in that world. This is my bread and butter, and it's conveyed nicely. And SummerSlam, the last SummerSlam at Staples Center in 2013 with the squash match with Brock Lesnar and John Cena.
Oh yeah,
was incredible.
That was heartbreaking to kids everywhere.
It was almost like, it was Cena in on this because he does not look good, you know. So
Yeah.
that was suspension. But by suspension of disbelief, I just mean like I'm allowing, I'm very vulnerable right now. Wait, was that
Are
one
you
of the
gonna
words?
do a
Vulnerable
swear jar
energy?
for vulnerable and energy?
and energy, I guess.
Oh.
There's another word. And cantankerous.
Cantanker. I've never heard you say cantankerous.
Okay, well, you just by that I mean, okay, I'm going to just go along for the ride. I'm going to let this story be told as if I'm watching a movie. I know, I never, lose sight of the fact that this is not real, but just like I'm lost in the story. That's my suspension of disbelief, I guess.
I'm meaning more like I feel like this could be real and maybe something happened, or I'm forgetting that this is all choreographed. This is a fight,
Right.
like a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels at the Montreal Screwjob. That had like a tension to it.
But that was real.
And but even the match leading up to it, before
yeah.
you even know, it's just like all that crowd fighting.
Watching
Or
the match,
Bret
'cause
Hart, Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13, that had a
Watching-
fight feel.
the match is so interesting just because they're still going through the motions up until the
Yeah.
finish, and it's rushed. It's very uncomfortable, but it's still a match. Like they're having a good match. It's not a terrible match by any sense. That match is so interesting to watch.
So I know you love tournaments. Have you heard of the mixed match challenge?
What's that?
It's a new thing they're doing on Facebook.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? So I know you love
You
tournaments.
love tournaments.
I do.
I
Who
know
doesn't?
you.
Do I
But
like tournaments?
You love wrestling tournaments.
I love wrestling tournaments, and I love drawing out brackets, which I did for the NFL playoffs again this
So,
year.
Mixed match
I'm like,
challenge.
okay, Mom, Saints or Vikings? Who do you like?
It's going to be on Facebook. And so what they did was they randomly paired men and women to be in a team together.
Okay.
So it's all mixed tag matches.
Okay.
And like the winner, gets like $100,000 to a charity of their choice.
What promotion is this?
This is WWE.
Really?
So the first round brackets, it's Finn Balor with Sasha Banks versus Nakamura and Natalya.
That's fun.
The Miz and Asuka
Ooh.
versus Big E and Carmella. Braun
odds of
Strowman
that?
and Alexa Bliss versus Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch.
Interesting.
Goldust and Alicia Fox versus Uso and Naomi, the married couple.
Wow!
Elias and Bailey versus Rusev and Lana.
So
Apollo
it's a
Crews and
32
Nia
team tournament
versus
Of- of-
Rude and Flair. Bobby Roode and Charlotte. And then in the quarterfinals, you can vote to bring somebody back and give them
Ooh,
a
that's
second
fun.
chance.
So it's very interactive in that
Yeah,
regard.
because
Is
it's all on Facebook.
Is it a shoot, total random pairing, or is it?
I'm sure
is it some
they
work?
chose them for some reason. I don't know, but it's kind
That's
of
fun.
it.
And it's
Like they've never
exclusively-
done anything like that, and they have so many women that actually matter now. Where you're like, oh, it's cool seeing them paired with a guy.
Okay, this is done exclusively online,
Yeah,
so it's only streamed through like Facebook Live, or what?
it's like on Facebook Watch.
And they're actually going
It's going to be like after SmackDown every Tuesday, running through the
at that
tournament.
arena that
Yeah.
SmackDown was hosted. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's going to be produced as if it's.
Yeah,
That's cool though.
I
that's,
know. I'm
they've-
actually going to watch it. It sounds interesting.
I'm all for like, oh, that's new. That's
Yeah.
that's totally.
When has there ever been a mixed tag match?
and the way they're
tournament?
broadcasting it, the
Yeah.
way they're broadcasting it is really smart. Yeah.
No,
That's great. I'm on.
I'm in.
I mean, is there going to be commentary or probably?
I don't know what team they chose
Yeah,
to
that's
be the
great.
commentary.
When does it
team.
start again? Not that I wasn't listening.
I think on Tuesday.
Wow.
Voicemail time. I gave out our Squared Circle Cinema hotline.
Oh, yeah.
657-205-7756.
657. What was it again?
657-205-7756.
6572. What was it again?
657-205-7756. That's our hotline.
Did anyone call it?
We received a whopping 2
Whoa!
voicemails.
Really? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I didn't call, and one of them wasn't me.
So
That's cool.
one of them was from our biggest fan,
Misha Nowakowski, right?
and our biggest fan, no, her name is Kathy R.
Oh, no. How does she spell her name? Was it with a C or a K?
She didn't spell her name because it's a voicemail. Dumb
Oh,
shit.
yeah. this whole medium is so new to me. You don't have to laugh. She didn't say Kathy with a K?
I'm assuming it was with a K.
This is Kathy with a K-R. Oh, God. I don't want to listen to this.
Hey guys, Squared Circle Cinema. Mike's mom here. Hey, I just listened to your Jumanji podcast. My sides are splitting with laughter. It was hilarious. You guys are great. Hey Mike, your segment was so funny, but it was also really intense when that poor sucker realized that he was going to lose to Bret Hart. Oh man, the best there was, the best there is, the best there will ever be. Go Bret. Anyway, you should do voiceover. You're so compelling. But there's another thing I got to tell you guys, okay? You got to be nicer to each other. Just be nicer. Let the other guy finish before you interrupt, okay? I want to hear what the thought is. Anyway, carry on. I'm really enjoying it. Bye.
Okay, you son of a bitch.
What?
I know you held a gun to your mother's head
No,
and
I
made her
didn't.
say. She was like, "Oh, Mike, you're so great. Your segment was
shut
so amazing. Oh, you should do voiceover."
No,
work." She didn't say a damn thing about me.
Oh, yes, she did.
And all
she said
she was
you
like-
should let me talk.
She was like, "Be nicer. He had a really good segment."
Oh,
well, listen, Kathy with a K. Have you listened to any of our other episodes where I'm trying to talk and he interrupts me?
I cannot believe you're cutting a promo on my mother.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him.
Come
Mom.
over here, Kathy.
No, my mom gets it. She gets
You
it.
want a piece of
And
me?
you know what? That was entirely my intention in my segment. The one that you brutalized with interruption. All right? But she was still able to emotionally invest in the words that were coming out of my mouth. And she found that it was it was a deep and compelling journey for her. Okay?
All I'm going to say
Thank you,
is
Mom.
that Kathy,
Don't you listen.
Kathy?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Kathy, I'll never forgive you for giving birth to my podcast host, co-host.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I said it.
Wow. Okay.
And next one.
Anyway, thanks for listening, Mom.
That was from our biggest fan. And the next one
We have two.
came
That's
from
so cool.
from your biggest enemy.
Oh god.
This is from Taylor Decay.
Okay, this is not a coincidence.
Hello? Damn it. Hey, Mike and Ryan. Great pod last week, guys. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm watching this movie, and I think to myself, you know who'd like this? Mike and Ryan would like this. So I look it up, see who's in it. Sure enough, there's a wrestler. No, I don't know who that guy is, and I don't care. Because you know what? Muscle men in tight pants is your thing. And here's another. It's one thing to make fun of me and my movie tastes or my family, but to besmirch my pizza? How dare you, Mike? You know, you better watch your back, bro. Oh, hey, Ryan, did you see Blade Runner yet?
Did you?
I mean, it's a good suggestion. He suggested 2 movies that we should watch, and all you do is just insult. I mean, we're losing fans left
Well, he
and right.
insulted you too. He said spandex is our thing. You know, that's a jab at you as well.
Is spandex my thing?
No, well, that's what he said. It was a knock at not only me
Oh.
but you too. That's what I'm.
Well, I didn't take it that way, but okay. Well,
Well,
what do you have to say about that?
I'm still.
He told you to watch your back.
I know. I'm still kind
I'm
of.
cutting promos on your mom. Taylor Decay's cutting promos on you.
And you want me to cut a promo on Tyler? I'll cut a fucking promo. Swear jar. Sorry, Mom, for cussing. On Tyler. Come at me then. You think I'm afraid of you? Come at me. I'm calling you out right now, Tyler. You come to 557 East Town Boulevard in San Dimas, south of the 10. Okay, well, here, no.
You always
Take
say we're
exit
from
town.
Pomona, California,
I know,
you
that's
dumb
okay, wait,
shit.
go south on.
Why don't you just tell everyone where I live, you idiot?
That's because I'm not talking to everyone. I'm talking to you, Taylor Decay. You want me to watch my back? Why don't you watch your front while I'm kicking your butt, dude?
There's
My
a
shoes.
there's a Jizza song that would have been perfect. It goes, I got your back, but you best still watch your front. Because it's the N-words that's stunt. Or
That's cool.
I fucked that up.
Look, I know. Here's the thing. He hit.
He hit a raw nerve.
No, well, what he did
Just
was
like
he hit a
that.
home run off of me in the 5th grade. All right?
Oh.
And now it's like this power trip. Okay? He brings it up every time I see him. You can't, like, go to a birthday party without him bringing up the time that he's, like, doing cartwheels around the bases. I left the pitch high and tight. Big deal. Got too much of the plate. All right? Got his hips into it. Fine. But he doesn't have to bring it up every time I see him.
Well, it's probably because you throw like a cunt. Isn't that why that happened?
I don't have to put up with this.
Okay, so we're gonna watch the Maze movie next week, or are we gonna watch Blade Runner?
I don't want anything to do with that movie. Why don't you watch
Fine.
it? Why don't you have you seen it yet? Why don't you ask her why don't you answer his question, Ryan? Have you seen Blade Runner?
I haven't.
What does he mean by that? Hey Ryan, there's a wrestler in that movie as well, and I hear he wears
He was
spandex.
making a suggestion.
No, he wasn't. He was talking to you, a la, would you like to go to the movies with me? Is it still in theaters? He probably wants
It's
you to
not.
go to his family's home.
All right. Psycho. What movie did we watch this week?
You know, I'm gonna build a perch for you and Ryan. Sorry, for you and Tyler Ryan to be able to sit in a tree. You got it?
Is that like a KISSING joke?
That was the bit. All right, let's get into film number 38 of 5,683, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, starring the aforementioned Jerry the King Lawler. Or we could just wrap it up now.
What did you think of this? I actually found it like incredibly compelling for a lot of reasons.
I did too. I think Jim Carrey has completely lost his mind. Officially, it's interesting to see, because I had heard about it, like, oh, he's going on these rants on Twitter, but seeing him articulate it in this long form interview, because this movie is less about Andy Kaufman and the making of Man on the Moon as it is his journey, Jim
Yeah.
Carrey's journey, and where he is presently, and he is.
So
now,
you feel now he's him now, the Jim Carrey that's being interviewed for this film, you found that person to have lost his mind, or was it the guy that was doing Andy Kaufman? because
No,
he said an incredible amount of profound things,
Introspective
I thought.
things.
Like he understands himself.
Tony Clifton.
He understands people. He understands like motivations and the absurdity of just the human condition.
Absolutely. As Tony Clifton, he got some very powerful things out about himself and about his motivation. And like, well, he's a good guy, but he's just doing it wrong this way. And he overacts. He's an overactor.
He's a coward.
And he's a coward. Yeah. And it was fascinating. But no, I don't think he
Happiness
was
is a
crazy.
smile is a facade.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all, yeah.
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's
the
all work.
bearded Jim Carrey now sitting there giving the interview, I'd listen to that guy's podcast. He's like a
But I don't
very
think
just
he's
been through it, man, and he's seen a lot, and he has an interesting perspective on life and what connects us all.
I don't think that he had lost his mind then, because seeing this now, I know what the documentary was at the time. And he'd even mentioned it. They were documenting the filming and his process and being totally meta and in character the whole time just for the documentary. And he had this idea that he wanted to marry both entities into the movie. That's why he was in character the whole time. And you see him out of character on the documentary. It's like, this is another project I'm working on.
Yeah.
So, no, he was brilliant then. He was not crazy. Now he's the whole... and this is just my inner psyche talking, but when people get all zen and it's like, we're just, floating along and nothing matters, man. To me, that's not crazy, but there's some sort of denial there where you're like, well, if nothing makes sense, then who cares about anything, man? And I don't genuinely think that he has reached
nothing makes sense. I took down a lot of things that he said.
Well, in the sense that your daily stressors don't really matter because, there is no identity. There's no, he said here, we're just the shell and we're born into a religion and a culture and it's supposed to mold us who we are. And it's like, we're just being, we're in this universe that's more broad and important. And it's very zen and I think it's very wise, but that is a more crazier notion than him in the 90s. I think he had a more professional mind. Well, he's done everything. So of course, why not now all of a sudden go into this direction where you're just completely zen and aware of the self and of the ego. But I think it's all an act. I don't buy it.
I mean, his whole thing about when he went out of the Palm and there were all the paparazzis taking photos, and then he just stood there and then looked at him, and then they were like, "What are you doing?" And then he was like, "It's nothing."
That's called street art.
That was really interesting.
He's an amazing artist. That is very interesting, and he is such an interesting. No doubt, when Ace Ventura: The Mask and Dumb and Dumber came out, no doubt he wasn't my favorite actor. No doubt he wasn't your favorite actor. I don't think I've ever
every teenage boy at that time.
I think I've seen Ace Ventura more than any other movie.
Probably Dumb and Dumber.
And Dumb and Dumber as well. And I really got a better appreciation for his talent after watching this and the importance of a director, because Milos Forman, and you said this in our Man on the Moon episode, available on the archives, episode 18, I think. I'd have to double check. Yeah, episode 18. That he just doesn't understand the nuances of American comedians. And he was referring to Andy Kaufman, but he was also referring to Jim Carrey. They were not connecting on any level. The reason why, he's just yelling and taunting him as Tony Clifton is because he doesn't get along with him on an artistic level. They're not seeing eye to eye. That's why his performance was lame. That's why the movie didn't work. And completely missed the mark. And the chemistry between those two was appalling. Yeah,
this really did shed a light on every criticism we had for it.
Absolutely.
Like when they juxtapose the wrestling scenes in real life with like the real Andy Kaufman wrestling scenes and promos with his remake with the Man on the Moon wrestling scenes and promos. The contrast is ridiculous, like how authentic one feels and how forced and lame the other one feels. And then, I mean, he was doing the whole thing as a project, like messing with Jerry Lawler, and he's trying to like justify like, oh, that's like, this is something Andy would do. and like
Here's-
Andy knows it's a work at the end of the day.
Here's something that I wish this documentary would have solved a little better, because I remember when it happened. I remember, watching professional wrestling religiously and hearing on the news that Jerry Lawler attacked
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. And it's all over the place. And I thought it was 100% real. He's injured. We got a sense that he wasn't actually injured in this, but we didn't get a sense of whether or not Jerry Lawler was in on it as well. And I truly think that this is a work on a work. Like,
You
I
think
really
so?
do. I think Jerry Lawler was in on this, and it was, as we're making this movie, I'm going to do my own Andy Kaufman thing, and we're going to make the news. And did you see his reaction? He lit up when it made the news. It was almost like, we did it. We fooled him. And it's like Jerry Lawler is not going to break kayfabe. He's not going to mention anything.
We're not even
They didn't
gonna
approach him for any modern interviews. But I just wanted that moment
The
in Man on the
freaking
Moon where
filmmakers should have asked him if
I know
Jerry
I
Lawler was
wanted-
in on it.
I wanted that moment where, a la Man on the Moon, where we realize, like, oh, it's like he goes on podcasts and says we're friends now. But I think he was asked by this
That's a good
incredible
point.
artist, Jim Carrey, to not say anything, because this is my Andy Kaufman.
I've heard him on Jerry Lawler on podcasts before say that Jim Carrey sent him some Batman memorabilia or something because he knew he was like a big collector.
I thought he
and it's apologized.
apologized. He sent him like one of Andy Kaufman's robes or something like that.
Yeah.
So they have a friendly, amicable relationship now. And Jerry Lawler is a Memphis guy that knows the true beauty of storytelling and keeping the kayfabe or not breaking kayfabe. And it's like, if any wrestler would be able to pull that off, it's him. So I think it was all work.
Here's what I really loved about it. First, I loved him talking about his father and
Yeah.
like who he was, how he became like a broken man, and how he had a dream to be a saxophone player, but
Yeah.
he played the safe route of being an accountant, and he was even rejected from that, and how that broke him. And then you just see all that footage of young, like wide-eyed Jim Carrey, like I'm going from Canada to Hollywood and I'm going to be like the wacky guy, and he had like so much just spirit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then when he and he writes himself his check and he finally makes it to that paramount moment that he always dreamed of, and that's when he's like, and then I realized that I had everything I wanted and I wasn't happy.
Wow. Yeah.
That was really incredible.
And so I'm so happy and fortunate that his father was able to be alive to see. It was around the time that The Mask came out. So he's like, he made it. He's now in feature films. He's making that $10 million for this movie. So it's like, then he passes away, and then he puts the check, the $10,000 check in his pocket. That was stunning. And how often do you hear, and I knew the story of his father, but I kind of forgot, so he paused when he was asked about his father, and how often do you hear, like, well, he left us at a very young age, or when he drank, oof. And it was like, he was the funniest man I've ever met, and he would have been a success if he would have pursued that, but he went the family route, and he failed at that. And that was devastating for him, and that taught me, just go for it anyway. You know, it seems like he was just as inspirational as a father can be. And he was crying, it's like, I can't say, I can't go to that place without feeling so grateful and, sad that he's not around.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And then when they're living, the actor that played his father and Andy Kaufman's father in the movie, when they're kind of going through their own issues, the actor that portrayed him with his son and Jim Carrey with his father, they're having this argument in character in the makeup room, and it
making the makeup lady cry.
The makeup lady cries, and she's just like, that just reminded me of my dad, and none of that even came close to the emotional content that was in the feature film.
Yeah.
That scene where they're just really like, you see it, you're like, oh, this is a father and son having a really heart-to-heart. And that would have been a better scene than any scene in Man on the Moon.
And what's really interesting is that all that footage from back when they were the behind the scenes footage from Man on the Moon that they were collecting for this other documentary project, if they would have made it, and let's say they would have like interviewed the cast and crew, and it kind of would have been like a meta Andy Kaufman-esque documentary, where like they were all annoyed by him and his shenanigans and stuff,
Right.
but he really did have heart in the end.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what the arc of the documentary would have been.
Uh-huh.
There still wouldn't have been the deep dive into who Jim Carrey was, because I'm sure they wanted this to be released around the same time as Man on the Moon. All this footage.
Yeah.
So
But the
whatever
fact
they
that
were working
there's
on,
been 20
it wouldn't
years.
have had the heart and insight that
Yeah.
it has now, that they waited this long, and it's become more of just a look into who the man Jim Carrey is, how he like ascended to like the very top of Hollywood, and now he's just something completely different that you barely ever see in anything, and he kind of does whatever he wants, and he's introspective, and he like paints, and he's just more of an artist now.
It was basically like him having that avenue. It was basically getting him to articulate just through exposing him to the footage. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like we're going to use this footage as an avenue, as a conduit to get to his psyche.
Yeah.
It was a great idea, and amazing things came out of it.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about the footage is all the people running out. You can't film here.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you can't. No filming.
Give me that camera. Like, no, I'm
No
not gonna
filming.
I'm not going to give. Per Hugh Hefner's request, give me the camera.
Yeah. I need the tape.
I need the tape. Like, what a crock.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Great suggestion.
Yeah.
Great documentary. It was
A spiritual journey for all involved, I would say. But I'll tell you this.
I just have a hard time reacting to him as this, Zen persona now, because when he's doing impressions, when he's doing Tony Clifton, when he's doing Michel Gondry, that was a great moment. He's like, "All right, now, Jim, you are so broken.
yeah.
Stay here," because
Yeah.
the movie didn't shoot
Please,
for another year. Like,
please do
Please
not
do
get
not get
well.
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's Jim Carrey, and he's great at doing impressions. His impression of Milos Forman, like that's Tim as Tony Clifton.
So-
That's who I still want as a child.
Okay. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. Jim Carrey is doing a TV show with Michel Gondry on Showtime. It's coming up
That's cool.
soon.
I bet that'll be great.
So that could be something. I mean, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
His
It's
best work.
one of my all-time favorite movies. It's
His best
definitely
performance.
in my top 10. I love that movie so much. And the little story of how it was his childhood bike
Oh
that
yeah,
he used.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
In that scene,
awesome.
yeah, where he's wearing his cape. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, beautiful movie. Yeah, I'm gonna give it. You give your rating there, or unless you got some fun facts.
I'm gonna pull a mic. I was gonna give it a 7.7, but we've been talking about it. I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
Oh, nice! By one full point. By
Yeah.
one. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 8.5.
Okay.
I think we both. I'm going into it like, all right, what are we going to learn about Andy Kaufman that we don't already know? Nothing. We learned about Jim Carrey.
Yeah, we learned so much more than we ever thought we would learn about Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Like we went into Jim Carrey's soul.
It is interesting, like discussing a film, like how your true opinion kind of comes to light. Because I was in the same boat as you. I was like, well, there you go. But discussing it, I now have a much bigger appreciation for Jim Carrey as the artist, as the performer, and as the human being, and as the spirit, and as the soul, and as the wise sage.
There's not much fun facts. Universal was sitting on that footage for 20 years. They wouldn't
Yeah.
release it. Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman have the same birthday.
I can't believe that it was Andy Kaufman's former girlfriend that was the documentarian.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, and what's the deal with Courtney Love always like getting naked all the time?
She's a weirdo.
Did you ever watch like that what was the name of that Kurt Cobain documentary on HBO?
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know. It's a
Hell something.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah, Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah.
She's like always naked.
Yeah.
And then you see this and she's like naked with Jim Carrey dancing around.
She's a free spirit, man. That's
Yeah.
just her cup of tea, man.
All right, well, I'm Ryan.
And I used to be super charmed by that in my adolescence.
Yeah.
Not really anymore.
I'm Ryan the Muffler Bruckner saying Jerry Lawler, in fact, is no king. He's nothing but a dirty, low-life scumball, and he deserves every beating he's going to get, especially from me.
And I'm Mike Big Tobacco Ryan saying I'm digging 29 holes for 29 souls.